Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly is more than just an album. It's a cultural artifact, a deeply introspective and socially charged journey that explores themes of Black identity, trauma, self-worth, and the burdens of fame. Through intricate lyricism, layered production, and spoken word interludes, Lamar constructs a narrative that delves into the psychological turmoil of a Black man navigating systemic oppression, internal conflict, and spiritual awakening. The album opens with Wesley's Theory, a track that immediately introduced the theme of exploitation. The title references the actor Wesley Snipes, who faced tax evasion charges, symbolizing how Black entertainers are often used and discarded by the system. The song paints a picture of a young Black artist seduced by wealth and fame, only to be consumed by it. Psychologically, this track represents the early stages of the quote-unquote pimping process, where innocence meets opportunity and capitalism entices individuals into self-destruction. Kendrick's persona is blinded by materialism, a condition often seen in young celebrities who experience sudden success but lack financial literacy and self-awareness. In this jazz-infused spoken word piece, Lamar embodies a character that fiercely rejects the idea of being used. The repeated refrain, "This D ain't free," is a metaphor for Black labor, artistry, and culture being exploited without due compensation. The psychological undertone speaks to the anger and resentment that emerge when one realizes they are being taken advantage of. It's a moment of awakening, where the protagonist refuses to be commodified any longer. The song King Kunta is an anthem of defiance. The title references Kunta Kinte, the enslaved African warrior from the movie Roots, juxtaposing the historical oppression of Black people with Kendrick's newfound power. However, beneath the bravado lies insecurities, an internal battle between self-worth and external validation. From a psychological perspective, this song embodies a superiority complex that often masks deep-seated feelings of inferiority. Kendrick is proud, but he is also paranoid, questioning who in his circle is truly loyal. This speaks to the trauma of success, where the fear of betrayal looms large. The track Institutionalized explores how systemic racism psychologically conditions individuals into self-destruction. The chorus, "Stuff don't change until you get up and wash your behind," suggests its personal responsibility, but the deeper message critiques how institutions keep Black people trapped in cycles of poverty and violence. The song embodies learned helplessness, a psychological phenomenon where individuals believe they cannot escape their circumstances. Even as Kendrick gains success, he still struggles with the mental chains of his upbringing. The song These Walls is a multi-layered track that can be interpreted in several ways. On the surface, it explores sexual intimacy, but beneath it lies a commentary on revenge, trauma, and how pain is transferred through generations. Psychologically, this song highlights how unresolved trauma often manifests in self-destructive behaviors. Kendrick uses the metaphor of quote-unquote walls to represent different forms of confinement, prison walls, mental barriers, and the consequences of one's past actions. One of the most emotionally raw tracks on the album, titled You, exposes Kendrick's darkest thoughts. His self-hatred, survival guilt, and feelings of inadequacy are all laid bare. The drunken delivery enhances the authenticity of his despair. From a mental health perspective, this song embodies the inner voice of depression. The accusatory tone, "Loving you is complicated," reflects the cognitive distortions that plague those struggling with self-worth. This track is a crucial moment in the album's psychological journey, representing the lowest emotional point. The track Alright stands as the album's most uplifting track, becoming an anthem for the Black Lives Matter movement. The repeated refrain, "We gon' be alright," is both a personal affirmation and a collective mantra for resilience. Psychologically, this song represents cognitive reframing, a mental shift from despair to hope. It acknowledges pain while choosing to believe in a better future, embodying the core principle of post-traumatic growth. In the song track titled Mama, Kendrick reconnects with his roots and his sense of self. The song represents a psychological breakthrough. After confronting his demons, he begins to find clarity. The track symbolizes the importance of self-awareness and healing. By revisiting his childhood and seeking wisdom, Kendrick acknowledges that true wealth lies not in material success, but in understanding oneself. The song titled Hood Politics, this track critiques the contradictions of street culture. Kendrick reflects on how being real is often equated with violence and how old survival tactics no longer serve him. Psychologically, this song represents cognitive dissonance, the discomfort that comes when one's old belief system clashes with newfound understanding. He realizes that the quote-unquote hood politics he once subscribed to are limiting rather than empowering. The song titled How Much a Dollar Costs tells the story of Kendrick encountering a homeless man, only to later realize he was a divine test. The track explores the themes of selfishness, moral responsibility, and the battle between ego and empathy. From a psychological standpoint, this track embodies the concept of cognitive moral development. It forces listeners to confront their own biases and the ways in which capitalism breeds selfishness. The song titled Black of the Berry is one of the most politically charged songs on the album, tackling themes of self-hatred and hypocrisy. The raw aggression is an outward manifestation of internalized trauma. The psychological complexity of this track lies in its self-awareness. Kendrick critiques systemic racism, but also acknowledges his own contradictions. It represents the inner conflict of being both victim and participant in cycles of violence. The contrast between the song tracks You and I is intentional, where You was self-destructive, I is an affirmation of self-worth. The song promotes self-love as a revolutionary act. Psychologically, this track aligns with positive psychology principles, choosing to focus on gratitude, love, and inner peace despite external struggles. The closing track, Mortal Man, solidifies the album's thesis. Kendrick grapples with the responsibility of being a voice for his community. He references historical figures like Nelson Mandela, questioning whether his people will still love him through his flaws. From a psychological standpoint, this track represents the weight of generational trauma and the pressures placed on Black leaders. The Tupac interview at the end serves as a passing of the torch, a reminder that the struggle continues. To Pimp a Butterfly is a masterpiece that examines the Black psyche with unflinching honesty. Through each track, Kendrick Lamar takes listeners on a journey of trauma, redemption, and self-discovery. The album's genius lies not just in its musicality, but in its ability to serve as both a mirror and a roadmap for navigating personal and collective healing.